Starting a garage gym right starts with your flooring. No matter what you change in your garage gym, your flooring is going to be there. Even on a budget, we want it to look good. All products will be down in the description. If you guys have any additional comments or questions, please leave those down in the comments after the video. Where do you even start with purchasing your flooring? You have different options from hard rubber flooring, EVA foam, and turf. And this is all going to depend on what your goals for the space are. So if you want to use hard rubber flooring, this is mostly meant for people who are going to be dropping weights, doing squatting. And the reason we don't want to use EVA foam for this is because we want a hard surface, so there's no chance for slipping and there's no give to the flooring. Where EVA foam is going to do well in is yoga and spin biking. And this doesn't rely on you having a good cushion underneath you and you're not worried about slipping too much. Turf is just extra because it's really not a requirement to have in a garage gym unless you want the aesthetic. There is different types of rubber flooring out there. You can get rolled flooring or you can get stall mats more for your budget sense. What type should you be buying? There's different types of stall mats out there in sizes, width. Some of the other major things you should look for when buying stall mats is the width and depth. For the width, you should be buying 4x6 sheet because this will eliminate a lot of the seams that would come for like a 3x4 sheet. And for the depth, I would recommend buying a 3/4 inch over a 1/2 inch just because it protects your concrete a little bit more when you're dropping weights. The reason why I personally still use stall mats is because I still park my truck in the garage and I really don't mind the look of the stall mats. A price per square foot for stall mats is $229, where a rubber flooring, the cheapest I could find, was around $299 per square foot. Why would you actually pick a rubber rolled flooring over a stall mat? Well, you're gonna have a much cleaner look. You're not gonna have all the seams you have with stall mats. One of the big turnoffs for people is the smell of stall mats. They have this weird rubber smell to them. And what I recommend you do is just leave them out for a few days before you actually set them in your garage where you want to place them. Another option too that others have recommended is using Odoban to remove the smell from the stall mats. For me, I didn't mind the smell when I put them in here. It just depends on how sensitive you are to the smell. Where's the best place for you to buy and what you need to watch out for some of these places that you are buying them from? Personally, my favorite place to buy the stall mats from is Tractor Supply. They are in 49 states out of the United States, so you probably can find one in your area. The reason why I enjoy Tractor Supply over the other options is because I can actually find it with a non-textured top. For example, one of the places I had bought stall mats from was Fleet Farm. This stall mat actually had a textured top, which I don't enjoy because it doesn't really feel firm on the foot as a non-textured top does. One of the things I would do with Tractor Supply is I would call ahead to make sure that they have a non-textured top. And on the back side, they will have dimples or some grooves, and this just allows some extra airflow through them. So there's no worry with this since this is going to be on your concrete. And when you are moving these stall mats, a lot of people are saying it's pretty hard to move, but the best way to move the stall mats is wrapping them up like a burrito. And the person at the store should know how to do this if you ask them what's the best way to move. There are many ways you can install stall mats. Say that 3 times. Install stall mats, install stall mats, There are many ways that you can install stall mats. There are effective ways that will save you time and also make it look good in the end. One of the biggest changes I made this time when I laid out my garage was I actually made a layout. This allowed me to know how many I needed. Yeah, you could square foot it, but now you have a precise layout of how you want them to be laid out and you don't have to worry about waste. I also didn't like how the seams lined up previously how I had them. So how I did this is I started with a 4x6 orientation and then I flipped to a 6x4 orientation on the next row. This just made a much cleaner look so you don't have the seams running through your whole garage. When you're laying stall mats, the best time to actually lay these is when it's coldest in your area. So with rubber, it's gonna condense when it's colder, and when it gets warmer, it's going to expand, is going to be the reason for your separation in your stall mats. My favorite way to cut the stall mats doesn't align how others recommend by using a utility knife. I actually prefer to use a jigsaw or a sawzall. This is just because it takes zero force of my own body to actually cut them. The best way to cut them is doing a straight line using some chalk and then propping them up on top of a board, and this just makes the cut much easier. Even if you are still using a utility knife, I do recommend that you prop the mat up with a board or some sort of prop. If you are using a utility knife, you are going to have to score the mat before you use it. And this is just doing a once over lightly to get a line to start. And then you go back in and just make deeper cuts. It might take a few times to do this. It's a little bit more labor intensive compared to using a jigsaw or a sawzall. If you are going to use a utility knife, make sure you have some spare blades, because after a few cuts, the blade will go dull, and this will make the cuts a lot harder. When you go to lay the mats down, there's 3 different ways that you can actually connect them together. Some people are recommending using gusset plates, or also called mending plates. Where the corners of the stall mats meet, this is where you would put the mending plate. But they are pretty thin, so you wouldn't really feel them when you're squatting or whatever, but most of the time you wouldn't be squatting on a corner. But the reason why I don't go with this route is because of the reason I still pull my truck into the garage. There are better options for you to use if you do pull the truck in like me or your car. The first option is to tape the underside of the stall mat using carpet tape or also double-sided tape. And this will just keep the mats together. Yes, you're gonna see the seams on the top. So if you don't like seeing the seams on the top, what I have personally done is put Gorilla Tape, permanent tape, on the top of the seams to keep it all together. So it's just the same as using carpet tape, but now you're on the top side and it's just one-sided. And honestly, these 2 options are the best options if you are parking your car in the garage so we don't have a pop tire. One major tip when you do use stall mats is when it does get pretty humid, they can get kind of moist on the top layer. So to combat this, I really do recommend using a dehumidifier. When you start feeling the humidity start to build up, I would actually turn this thing on right when you feel that happen, because you don't want a slick floor and causing injuries in yourself. Every day you walk into your garage gym or home gym, you won't have to worry about your flooring anymore unless you decide to move or upgrade your flooring. The next step in building a garage gym that best suits you is organization. If you're looking for organization tips, here's 6 tips for better home organization. And here's also a video for 5 budget storage options.